Hi everyone, it's the ComicFanMan here coming at you with another video. And in today's video, we're going to have a look here at the McFarlane Toys Elite Edition Doom the Dark Ages Doomslayer. I am so happy this finally came in. There's a little bit of a story about my issues with this, but I did finally get him. He's finally here. Love that. The painting from the video game side panel also has it, and this is the #1 first figure of the Elite Edition McFarlane Toys. I do have to say this will probably, unless McFarlane really captures some other crazy license, this will probably be the only one that I get from the Elite Editions, simply because I did really want this Doomslayer. Yeah, I had quite a few problems securing this figure, and I did have to go to the aftermarket, simply because McFarlane Toys screwed up my order completely. But that's a side tangent that I'll get into later. But here he is. Let's open it up and see what he's got. Alright, so here he is out of the box with all of his accessories. The Doomslayer from the Doom the Dark Ages. And yeah, he comes with a really nice pack out, so I'm really happy here. He has this Dark Ages McFarlane trading card there, again with the art from the game. Here goes the inside, the read, the data file. With the Slayer imprisoned at the dawn of the Dark Ages, the balance between light and shadow teeters on the edge of oblivion. He is a feared outsider among the Imperial people. He is both weapon and prisoner. His strength is bound by the very gods that they serve. As an ancient evil lays siege to their world, time runs short and the darkness deepens. So that's a nice little write-up there. I did get the 300-point card from the Elite Edition, so I'll take a look at the website later, see what I can redeem for the 300 points there. That's pretty cool. He comes with these extra set of hands here. One is a punching fist with the spikes jutted out, and the other one seems to be the more relaxed hand to like grip the gun, I guess, and maybe the shield. And look, the spikes are retracted here, and you can see they're very clearly extended here. Very cool. I love the detail and the paint that they did here. I do have to say, for a McFarlane figure, they did a lot of amazing detail work on this as far as the paint wise. The sculpt, McFarlane Toys has always been good with sculpt, but here he has that added touch of the paint. Let's take a look at his super shotgun here. Very nicely detailed. This is more of a sawed-off shotgun though, because his other super shotgun, you'll see from the first Doom Eternal figure, is longer, much longer. But they really got all the detail of it from the game. Really well done. Simple color scheme there. Here is his ball and chain Morning Star. Very cool. The handle is neat. They did a nice job. It's kind of like a gunmetal gray there with some leather wrapping there. A real chain, and the ball there is spiked ball. This might be the same ball and chain. The handle is different, but the ball, the spiked ball, might be the same as the Medieval, the one that came with Medieval Spawn Kickstarter. This might be that same ball and chain. Pretty neat there. This is his chainsaw shield. Looks really good. I do like the paint job, the detail that they did there. Looks like the yellow is stronger on this side and kind of fades a little bit here, but it's not bad. It's still very nice detail there. The inside, they did the wash as well. Really neat. This handle here doesn't really do anything, so we'll put that on later. but a really, really nice shield there. And of course, we got to look at the, I believe this was called the Pulverizer in the game. I love this gun. This gun was amazing. It was so freaky and like done so well. Basically, the skull is the ammo, so the skull gets kind of like grinded up when you start firing, and it just shoots out all like the skull pieces. Really, really well done. I love this gun. This is a really, really well done piece here. The sculpting, highly detailed. Looks like there's like a small like logo there. And yeah, little tiny skulls there. The skull with the logo and that blood finish. It looks like there's more skulls in there. Love it. This was my favorite gun in the game. Absolutely, just because of how weird it was. And of course the McFarlane Doom stand. Absolutely fantastic. But now let's have a look at the figure himself, the Doomslayer. Take a look. McFarlane Toys really did an absolutely banging job on this thing. Look at that. The sculpt. Again, McFarlane Toys has always been really good with the sculpt, but they added the paint to this, and he is amazing. The finish, the washes, really, really stunning work. I do have to admit, look at that. The difference between the metal, the leather, the chainmail, even in his hands, he's got chainmail armor. The detail in there is amazing. Nice little chain here for no particular reason. The back, look at the sculpting here. Really, really well done. This sort of like leather hide that goes over it. Very cool. Metal plating there. And look at the detail on the legs with the straps. The buckles have paint. Look at that. That looks really good. That's pretty doggone amazing. I'm not gonna lie. This figure really, really kind of, the look of it makes me so happy because it looks very much like the design of the game. They did a spectacular job with this. So that is the paint and sculpt of the figure. Definitely for me, for this figure, definitely a 10 out of 10. By far, McFarlane's like best normal figure release that they have ever done. That wasn't a Kickstarter. The medieval Kickstarter Spawn was really fantastic, but it was a Kickstarter. He did a lot of different things with it, and this is like just a regular release, but the paint work, the sculpting and all, really, really top notch. Amazing, amazing work. Oh, look at that. I didn't even show off the outside of his hands. I just realized. And again, you see the spikes protruded here, and on this side they're retracted. Dang, really, really awesome work. So again, the paint and the sculpt work, absolutely top notch. You know, really almost kind of puts him on the same level as like Mythic Legions. And that's saying a lot because McFarlane Toys was definitely nowhere near that kind of quality. However, we do run into the problem with his articulation. And his articulation is not like, you know, this figure is kind of sold as like premium articulation and this, that, and the other. He basically has the same articulation as before. It's a little bit more than the other one, but nowhere near what it should be. Like his arms only go up like that far, and then there's no bicep swivel. There is a like forearm swivel here, but like, there's the Doom Eternal Marauder figure that he did about 5-6 years ago when he did the Doom Eternal line has much more articulation than this figure. So I don't understand why they didn't update his articulation to have like the Marauder's articulation. I think it would have been much better. So really, like, the figure is mostly looks. Again, he does have okay articulation, but the articulation, you know, McFarlane is selling these as like premium articulation as well as paint and sculpt, right? His sculpt, the sculpt from McFarlane Toys has always been fantastic. The paint on this, for sure, is top notch, is definitely better than any of the other figures that I have from McFarlane Toys. That isn't the medieval Kickstarter. So in that aspect, he got those two, but the articulation is definitely lacking. This is not elite articulation. He's definitely going to have to do something more. I'll show you later when you compare his articulation to the Marauder's articulation. It's very much lacking. But all right, we'll go over that a little bit later. Let's armor him up and get him ready for battle. All right, so here we are going barbarian melee first here with the ball and chain. Look at that swinging ball there. And the shield fits on his arm nicely, although the shield is a little heavy, so it does, his arm does go down eventually if you try to like put him like holding the shield up. But it does look really good. You can put it out, make it look like he's punching with it to like saw the demon. Really, really good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something to tighten that joint a little bit, so that way it doesn't slide down all that much. And he holds the melee weapon really nice with this hand. Very well done. Might try to fit like a metal wire in there to hold it up there. Very cool. This cape is all fur. It's all this fake fur. It's really nice. Feels very soft. You know, it sits around his helmet very, very well. So that's good. Yeah, so like, you know, making him look like he's gonna melee people. Pretty neat. Oh, also this is that like extra laser thing. There is, you would think there's articulation points, but there are none. It basically just sits there like that. You can't move it around, which is less articulation than the Doom Eternal one, because the Doom Eternal one, you could move that around. So that is kind of a drawback. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I love the way it looks. I love the way he feels. I think McFarlane Toys really did a great job with him. All right, and here he is holding the super shotgun with two hands. This was definitely not something you could do with the previous Doomslayer. And that looks pretty neat. However, I will say this is a really short super shotgun. And if you put his arm out straight, like what is that aim, bro? Like, for real. Like, how did they not, like, they should have put a vertical hinge on this arm, so that way he could do it. But I guess they wanted to do it for the two-hand mechanic. So in order to do that, this is the way he's kind of has to hold it. Not really digging that, especially because it is so short. Like, this was the original super shotgun, and as you can see, it's a massive difference. So let's just see. I think he can hold this one. Yeah, he can hold it. And I think this one is a much better fit. Yep, definitely. Take a look at that. That's a much better fit for his super shotgun action. Love that. That's more of a run and gun action there for the Doomslayer. And of course, for more run and gun action, here he is with the Pulverizer. Love it. Look at that. That is really cool. Very stunning work. Again, McFarlane Toys really did an amazing job with this gun. And he holds it beautifully. He can hold it two-handed there. As you can see, it fits nicely into his hand. Love it. I think that looks absolutely spectacular. All right, let's start doing some comparisons. All right, and you know there is no Doomslayer without a BFG9000. And take a look. He holds the BFG9000 perfectly. He can hold it with two hands. Really, really awesome. That makes me so happy. All right, so here he is with the Doom Eternal Doomslayer that McFarlane did back in 2020, I think, 2019, 2020, whenever the game came out. McFarlane Toys did this one, and now this figure, when he came out, this was a $20 figure, and this one obviously is the elite version, so now he's $60. And as you can see, sculpt wise, they're pretty much on par, but the paint for sure is the major difference. I do feel that McFarlane Toys did a fantastic job with this figure. I loved this figure when he came out. I know there was a lot of complaints about the limited articulation and all, and I can agree, but still the overall look of this Doomslayer for me was my favorite of all of them at the time. And these weapons here are from my knockoff Figma figure. But yeah, he was definitely my favorite Doomslayer. I know, you know, obviously Figma did one, but I did not like, although the articulation was amazing, I didn't like the way the arms looked on the Figma figure. But this one looks, you know, more game accurate because he was definitely jacked. But yeah, you can see like McFarlane put articulation on this gun here. The flame belch, as it was called in the game. It was like a grenade launcher, flamethrower thing. But on this one, there's no articulation, so that's a step backwards for that. And the articulation between this one and this one is fairly similar, although they did give him the elbow swivel there. So he does have a little bit more range, but and the legs can open up a lot more. So like he can do like almost like a Van Damme split. This one can't do that. But overall, it's a pretty similar figure. The older one is definitely bigger. You can see that like he's definitely taller by a little bit. So overall, the older one, the $20 version, is a bigger figure. But this is definitely highly detailed, highly painted, and really well done. So I love this one. Alright, and here he is with a couple of other Doom skins from the Doom Eternal game. This is obviously the classic Doom guy from the 90s. And the Astro skin, this is the one that came with the Crucible blade. And yeah, they look really good together. You know, it's a nice collection of Doom figures here. I love this figure. I'm really happy with this. All right, and here he is with my knockoff Figma figure. And yeah, I really liked this figure. I thought even for a knockoff, it was like $15. And he's very well done. The paint is really good for a $15 figure. And as you can see, I kind of set him up when Doom the Dark Ages came out. I kind of set him up as my Doom the Dark Ages Doomslayer, and obviously this was before they announced him. This cape here is from the Man-at-Arms Deluxe figure. This shield is that Wonder Woman shield from McFarlane Toys. And this is that ball and chain from the Medieval Tool Kickstarter. And as you can see, it is definitely different because this is a lot bigger than this. I did not realize that that ball and chain was that much bigger. The handle is different as well. But pretty cool. You know, I think I was able to come pretty close to what his look was here. But I love this. I think he is absolutely fantastic. He's a beautiful, beautiful figure. I can't complain. All right, so here is the Doom Eternal Marauder figure, and this is where my gripe is a little more on point here, because this figure does have a lot of really good articulation points. This elbow joint here is really good. He's got that universal wrist joint there. So you can do a lot of posing with him that you can't do with him, and that's kind of a shame. Like, they really, like, I don't understand how they did this one 5-6 years ago and they didn't use any of the articulation from this figure. You know, they definitely could have used like these articulation points for his wrists, his hands, and his arms at least. The legs are okay. I'm not complaining too much about the legs, but definitely the arms. His arms are definitely lacking the articulation that the Marauder had. So I really wish they would have followed whatever they did here. You know, this is 5-6 years later, and this is an elite figure. And he did say it had elite articulation, but a figure that he made, you know, 5 years ago for 20 bucks has much more articulation than what he did now. So that is my one major gripe with this. All right, and here he is next to another big guy here from Warhammer 40K. And yeah, you can see he's a little bit bigger, but again, you know, the articulation, like, you know, he's a big guy, right? So you can say maybe his articulation is limited because he's a big guy, but McFarlane did this one, and he's a huge character, and he's got fantastic articulation. So again, I don't understand why they limited, you know, his joints there. I think it would have been fantastic to give him, you know, even like this range of motion from this character, because he's just really, really well done. So, you know, at least, you know, the look wise, yes, the painting on this, absolutely top notch. And you can definitely see the Doomslayer in Lieutenant Titus's world of Warhammer 40K. He'll probably be in there wrecking stuff alongside Lieutenant Titus. All right, so I have him here with the Medieval Spawn Kickstarter, and I switched out the mace for his Crucible blade from the Doom Eternal game, so giving him a sword and shield combo here. I think that looks spectacular, and of course, you know, the Medieval Spawn 2 Kickstarter here. I did change out the cape there. I gave him the Masterverse King Grayskull cape. And this is the Medieval Spawn 2 sword, the Great Sword there. I think that looks really, really great. And this is where it's comparable, because they were both the same price range. However, the Medieval Spawn 2 obviously came with a heck of a lot more accessories. So the value for this figure was definitely much more, because he came with enough accessories for me to like kit bash like 4 other figures. So that was really, really awesome. I was so happy to get this figure. But as far as sculpt, paint, and detail for the figure itself, yeah, you can see that McFarlane Toys definitely did a fantastic job with this Doom the Dark Ages figure. because he is definitely comparable with his finishes and paint work to this Medieval Spawn Kickstarter. So I'm really happy with this. He looked fantastic. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this look at the Doomslayer from Doom the Dark Ages. Doom the Dark Ages was an amazing video game. For me, still personally, I still feel that Doom 2016 was the best of the three games. Doom Eternal was definitely the weakest of them for me because I just felt, it did not feel like a Doom game to me. It felt more like a Doom skinned Fortnite game. It was just way too much jumping around and hopping and skipping. I was just like, bro, what? And then the Super Mario platforming was just like, bro, this does not look or feel like Doom to me. I don't know what they were thinking with that. However, Doom the Dark Ages, they got it back to its grimy roots and added melee attacks. So, you know, the melee combos, the melee gameplay loop is pretty amazing, especially with the shield, the way they implemented it all. It was really a very cool game. Still not for me. I still think 2016 is the best of the three, but Doom the Dark Ages did a lot to fix what I felt were the weaknesses of Doom Eternal. On another note, this will probably be the last McFarlane figure I get, unless they get something else completely like out of the blue that's, you know, a really amazing IP. I had such a frustrating time getting this figure. I pre-ordered it immediately as soon as it went up on Walmart, and Walmart didn't fulfill the order. And when finally their customer service got back to me, they told me I had to contact McFarlane Toys because they weren't going to refund me the money yet, because they haven't fulfilled the order because it was on McFarlane Toys side. Called McFarlane Toys. I reached out to McFarlane Toys on Facebook because that's normally where McFarlane Toys will answer. McFarlane Toys' response was really upsetting to me. It was kind of like it was almost kind of rude, because they're basically telling me, well, you just have to be patient. I'm like, bro, the figure is like 2 weeks past my my receiving date. Like, what do you mean I have to be patient? Like, what's going on? And then I had to take that and then go back to Walmart, and I told them I'm canceling the order, simply because, you know, they're not fulfilling the order and they're not telling me when it's going to be fulfilled now. So I canceled it finally, and I had to order it from eBay, which sucked because I had to pay the eBay price, and it was like, you know, I already had pre-ordered it at its regular price. Like, there was no reason for me to have to like order this from eBay, but that's the way it went. The other issue with the McFarlane Toys is that their pricing has gone through the roof. You can't follow any of their editions, you know, and then like he took his basic figures, he raised them up to like $30 now. I'm like, you know, I was so looking forward to getting the Mortal Kombat figures. Turned out all those figures are like $30 now, and I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? So I'm done with McFarlane. They're really going to have to like pull an IP that's amazing that I can't even think about right now, because I'm just so upset with them. This will probably be the last figure that I get from them, because it's really off-putting, because their customer service used to be really amazing, and now they're just kind of treating you like, well, you know, that money was mine, like, you know, you just gotta wait for your figures. Like, that's not a proper response, guys. But in any case, I will say I do love this figure. I think he was worth the price point, because he is comparable to the Medieval Spawn Kickstarter, which was in the same price point. Outside of the fact that you did have to pay an enormous amount of shipping, the figures are definitely comparable. So I think McFarlane Toys did an amazing job with this figure. and I am glad to have him finally in my collection. So I'm going to enjoy him for what he is. All right, so if you enjoyed this look at Doomslayer from Doom to Dark Ages, please give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.